This is the Expect Awesome Podcast, your source for expecting and achieving awesome with a God-powered confidence. And now, motivational speaker and Integrity Doctors President, Mr. Ryan K. Mall.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode here at the Expect Awesome Podcast. Man, I know it's been a while. I know it's been a minute. I've been gone, and I'm going to talk about why that is today. And I'm going to hopefully get back into this for quite a few weeks. I've got a few prepared. I'm just going to kind of record today just to give you some space for the next few weeks. And what I'm going to do for the next couple is I'm going to actually be answering questions. I'm going to be taking questions that I most commonly get all the time. I'm going to read some I got recently, and I'm going to go over those. I'm going to answer them in a way because they're questions I think that can benefit everyone, because they're questions I get a lot. They're questions I get all the time. And I just think that it just would make sense for all of you to get to benefit from the answers. But I know what you're thinking. Ryan, where have you been, man? Where have you been? Well, I've been gone. I've not done this for a while. I took some time to myself. And I've been doing some things. I've been setting some things up. And I've been trying to get things in order. And really what happened is that there are times where I need to kind of step back, and that's kind of what happened. When COVID-19 came around and it hit and kind of changed the way we had to do things. So it changed not just our company, it changed that we couldn't travel, we couldn't do conferences, we were doing things online. So because of that, it meant that I was doing not just this, whereas typically I was always doing these podcasts. I was doing lots of other recordings, other videos, other conferences, other live streams, Zoom calls. I was doing way more in front of a camera than I'd done in a long time, and way more just sitting in front of this microphone. And I got to the point where it was just like, you know what? I need a break from it. I need to stop. Now, I want you to learn from my stop. I want you to learn from what I did, because I did something that I really needed. And it's one of the things that I'm not telling you to take a break. I'm not telling you to stop. No. There's a certain thing I practice that I think is truly necessary, that I think every person in business needs to sometimes do. And that is simply this. I learned a very long time ago. One of the things that my dad taught me when I was very young, when I was kind of starting off in speaking, he said, if you're going to be a great speaker, the secret is being an even better listener. Now, at the time, I was like, that doesn't even make any sense. Why would it matter how good of a listener I am when the goal is to be a speaker? Because if you're a speaker, that means you need to speak. You need to get your point across. You need to get your illustrations across. You need to be able to communicate. And there's nothing about communicating that means kind of sit down and shut up and listen. That's not typically how you would normally see communication and see being a great speaker. But over time, as I kind of learned the different ropes and the different things, and as I struggled and got better and then struggled and got better and had this kind of off and on, I truly realized that was the key to it. And the initial key was the fact that when you're going to listen, you need to learn what you're listening for. And when we had everything hit last year, when everything went kind of awry with COVID-19, I realized that there was a problem. And my problem is that I was doing a ton of talking. I was talking nonstop. I was talking all day long, every day, constantly just talk. And while there were some good things that came out of that, there were some misses, let's call it. There were hits, there were misses, there was good, there was bad, there were things that I wish I could take back, there were wish I could undo. There was a lot of different results, and we came out mostly on top, I would say. I came out 90% on top, but there is a moment there where I recognized and realized that it was necessary for me to start listening again. And so when I realized that out of all this time that I'd been talking way too much, here's what made me realize it. When I realized that instead of hearing others, instead of listening to the people around me, instead of listening to things coming back, see, I was listening at the wrong things. I got distracted by listening to everything that not necessarily was being said to me, but the wrong things that weren't being said. Now, here's what I mean by that. When you're listening to someone, when you're listening and truly listening, there's two things being said, and there's one that isn't. So it's really, listening is a three-part process. Listening is a three-part process, in that when you're listening, first are the words that are coming out of the other person's mouth. The second part of listening is listening for the things that are meant, that they're trying to communicate, that they may not be coming out of their mouth. So there are times where not everybody says the right thing. And if you know the intention and you understand the intention, or at least if you know what they're trying to get at, or you can pinpoint in their communication that they may not be telling you the real problem, but you can see from what they're talking about that you know kind of internally what the real problem is, that's the other part of listening. The third part, and the bad part, is the one you want to avoid at all costs. And that is when you are listening, but you're hearing what you think they might be negatively saying about you. That's the one that all of us struggle with. It's very easy to listen to other people's complaints, other people's input, other people's feedback, and rather than hear what they're saying, rather than understand what they're wanting, rather than going for what they're needing, you hear what's against you. And you hear what is hurting you. And you hear what is attacking you. And as soon as you start getting in the mindset of hearing the attack, as soon as you start feeling like it's on you, it's like, I'm done, I'm over this. Stupid. I'm angry. You start taking everything personally, and then it didn't need to go there. It didn't have any reason to be that way. And that's where the problem starts, because rather than listening for the problem and listening for what the person was truly communicating and needing and wanting, you made it about you. And I can honestly say, I've done this. I can honestly say that there are plenty of times where I've done this. I can tell you that it's happened multiple times. Even as good a listener as I can be, there are moments when I'm listening and I'm hearing attack when the other person doesn't mean to attack. When I'm hearing negative and the other person doesn't even mean negative. They may not be saying it right. They may not be communicating it right. They may not even know what they're talking about, or they may not even understand that you are taking it the wrong way. But it comes in the fact that it's me creating a hypothetical that I shouldn't do, and I start hearing the attack. And so what I had to do over the last couple months was I had to stop and listen. And I had to listen again. I went back to emails that I had responded to and wished I hadn't responded to in the way that I had. I went back through calls and read through phone logs and read through stuff and started really listening. And that was my goal. See, I think that I think this goes beyond even just the hearing the wrong thing. I think a lot of times what stops us in business from growing is that even if you have a coach, you start taking your coaching calls, and instead of listening like you should, you end up talking too much. You've turned more into what you want to be as the assistant coach rather than the player. You're trying to join in. You're trying to add your style, add your input, add your 2 cents. And we don't need your 2 cents right now. What you really need to do to get where you need to go and to get out of the spot that you're in, you need to listen. So what does that look like? I know the instant thought, what does that look like? What that looks like is all you have to do is sit and stop talking. Sit and read. Sit and hear. And when someone's telling you something, here's what you really have to keep in mind. Here's what you really need to put on your head and on your heart at the same time. You need to realize this person isn't attacking me. Even if they are, even if they're yelling at you, cussing at you, mean to you, they're not attacking you. There's something that's bothering them. There's something that's troubling them. There's something under there. And is there a possibility? Is there a chance that there's something you have control over that you could help remedy it? So that's where I've been. I've been listening. I've been reading. I've been looking around. I've been paying attention. And I've spent the majority of this time trying to figure out what it is that everyone needs, what it is everybody wants, what it is that I could possibly do to help. What could I possibly do to change? What could I possibly do to make things better? And that starts with listening. So, I've done a lot of listening, but at the same time, I kind of like talking. So I'm going to talk some more, and I'm going to share my thoughts, and I'm going to keep moving on this podcast and keep things going. And I think that's the right thing to do. At the same time, I'm going to be listening more too. I'm listening, I'm watching, and whether you realize it or not, I'm praying for you as well. All right? This is going to be awesome. We've got some great stuff ahead. Let's go to God in prayer. God, I want to thank you for today. I want to thank you for these awesome listeners. I want to thank you for their diligence, for listening to this podcast, no matter how long a break I take, no matter how long a stint I go. God, I just want to thank you for them. I would ask that you'd lift them up, that you would be with them this week, that you would guide them, strengthen them, allow them to realize the awesome power that you have put inside them to help reach and speak to people and to be good to people and to be a reflection of you. God, I pray that you'd watch over them, that you'd look over them, and you'd help them realize how awesome they truly are. It's in your awesome name we pray. Amen. God bless you guys. I love you. I will see you very, very soon.
For more awesomeness, visit ryankmall.com or follow him on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at ryankmall. Until next time, keep smiling and remember, you are awesome.